Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 74 of the Pregame Network podcast, the only gaming show on the internet that's not afraid to offend anybody or say anything stupid. Uh, so, this is Dan, joined back by my bestest bud, Anthony, and we're going to talk about stuff in our little video game and really, yeah, just video games. I don't know why. I feel like I started going on a little bit of a tangent there, but no, it's just gaming. Um, but as usual, we're gonna start by talking about what we've been playing. Couldn't get that out, and then
One step at a time. Don't stroke out yet.
yeah. Oh my God. Then just move on from there. So I'll go first again, I guess. I mean, it's been a pretty short list. Um, and then like that kind of will lead me into what I want to talk about first. Actually, why don't you go first? Because
Yes.
I am going to end with a pretty easy transition. So you take the reins first.
Yeah. So honestly, business as usual for the most part. I playing my gacha games, doing a lot of events, catching up and things. Just it comes and goes based on what content they're offering and how long I've put it down for, because sometimes there's good rewards if you put it down a little too long, like, oh god, please come back, we'll throw more free shit at you. I've been pretty much doing that. Other than that, for the channel, we've been playing a handful of things. I tried to get them to play like System Shock the other day.
Oh, good luck.
Like the original. Yeah, it was
definitely good luck.
It was rough. Like, I couldn't get Luke to, like, Luke, I installed it, Luke uninstalled it, I got Harrison to play it, he couldn't control it. We tried the regular version, the enhanced version. I guess that's something I'll play alone by myself at a certain point. I tried to get them to play Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy. You ever hear of that?
Indigo Prophecy seems kind of familiar, but I've never heard of Fahrenheit before.
You would probably have heard of Indigo Prophecy. It's the same game. In some territories it was called Fahrenheit, in some territories it was called Indigo Prophecy, and the current version that's just available everywhere is called Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy. And it is like, I think it's not the first, but it's one of David Cage's early like cinematic games. So it's like the walk around, you play as different characters over time, it's story driven, and they actually liked it way more than they had any right doing it. So I'm like, okay, we'll come back and we'll revisit that. So hopefully that's in the near future, because I think it's a decent enough game, but I haven't encountered the writing in a while. Yeah, so we played some of that, and we're gonna go back and play it eventually. The last thing I really tried for the week that I can remember off the top of my head is me, Luke, Nick, and Harrison, we sat down and we played Repo. You ever hear that? I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it on Steam.
Yeah, it's one of those social multiplayer horror games. It's kind of like when Lethal Company came out, everybody started making their own versions of it. It's kind of like that. It has a bit more going on than Lethal Company, which is good, and it feels a little bit better to play. So that's a lot of fun. Sit down and dick around for like 2 to 3 hours. But other than that, I mean, not much. We've been playing the finals, obviously. We tried to play the Black Ops 7 beta. I didn't get a chance to. I'm sure you're gonna have a lot more to say on that than me.
Yeah.
And then we played some Deep Rock. That was neat. We played a couple.
I actually really enjoyed like that hour and a half or something of Deep Rock.
It's fun to go back. Even with just the two of us, it's still a good time. Optimally, we want 4, but we still had a fun time, so who cares?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much everything I got going on. I can remember anyway.
Yeah. As far as I go, I mean, it's been pretty normal. Finals, Borderlands a little bit. Deep Rock Survivor. I played a bunch of Darktide today, actually. I've kind of been like experimenting with new builds because the latest update that they added, Bound by Duty, they added like a bunch of new content, but then they went back and reworked the 3 classes that they didn't touch since the game got its like massive skill tree overhaul, because they had the Unlocked and Loaded update, which was a massive overhaul to like the weapon customization system, and it also added like different perks and a rework for the Ogrin class, but then they never touched the other 3. So they finally went back and they did an overhaul to the Zealot, Veteran, and Psyker. So I've been playing with that a lot, just like making fun builds and everything like that. I play Dark Tide. I know I've said this before, but I'm gonna say it again. I play Dark Tide because it is just probably some of the most fun like horde shooting mechanics I've ever played. And yeah, they've got stuff to chase and everything, but I don't exactly have a dedicated team to run with like on a regular basis. So I do what I can, but I just find it incredibly fun. So I've been doing a good amount of Dark Tide today, and yesterday and the day before I was playing the Black Ops 7 beta, and this is probably a perfect place to transition into like overall thoughts on the beta, since it's like 48 hours old at this point, maybe a little bit longer. So you haven't played it at all, right?
No, I have not.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to, I guess, tailor my rant around that. Okay, so Black Ops 7 is literally Black Ops 6 with a near future skin in it. Like, that's in the same vein that Modern Warfare 3 like should have been a quote unquote DLC for Modern Warfare 2. This feels exactly the same.
Okay.
And I had a fucking epiphany the first PlayStation that I had with it. And I think I've been like not so subconsciously trying to dissuade myself from that epiphany, because I did not like the realization that I had. I was in like my third or fourth game, my first PlayStation with beta, and this like massive realization came over me at like mid game, like mid gunfight, whatever it was. I just had the thought like, this franchise is no longer for me. Like it is just, yeah. I mean, it probably took me way longer to reach that conclusion than it should have, but like ever since Modern Warfare 2019 came out, that was like the big glowing, beam of hope that we had as like OG Call of Duty fans, right?
Yes.
Like, speaking for myself and you.
Yeah.
It really brought things back to much slower gameplay, like very grounded, realistic, gritty. It wasn't like terribly twitchy. And then after that, we've been slowly devolving back to why everybody fucking hated COD in the first place, and I think we're back there like full force at this point. So I haven't played like a. You remember when the Battlefield 6 beta was going on? Like, that was the only thing that I was playing for like the entire weekend.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
not even close to that level. Like, however, this is gonna be where you and I disagree a little bit, I think. But I think you and I have different opinions on skill-based matchmaking, and that's fine. However, the very first game that I played of Black Ops 7, I remember this very, very clearly, and it wasn't like, fucking 6 months ago or anything, but it stuck out to me enough that like I remembered it to talk about right now. Yeah. The very first game that I had of Black Ops 7, I went like fucking 50 and 15 or something like that. Like, way better than I've done in a COD in a long time, probably since Modern Warfare 2019. The very next game, I got just pounded into the dirt. And then I'm like, okay, it was probably a fluke. So I kept on playing, and like as I kept on playing, I was just getting closer and closer to that like 1.0 KD ratio. Not that I give a flying fuck about my KD. I don't play COD for that anymore. Like, that's just not who I am anymore. But I think that was the first time, maybe ever, where I really had this feeling of like, wow, skill-based matchmaking is rearing its ugly head like hardcore right now. And I bring this up because, one, I had the epiphany that this game is no longer for me, which was kind of a shitty thought to have, because Call of Duty has been one of my favorite one of my favorite IPs for essentially 2 decades at this point. Yeah. Which is just crazy to think about. But I had such fucking whiplash between the very first game that I played and then basically all the games after that. And I just like, I'm not really trying to sweat my ass off here. I am not interested in like. I used to play COD a lot for the camo grinds, like that was my thing, and it hasn't been for probably what was after Modern Warfare 2019, Cold War, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so that I haven't really been into that since Modern Warfare 2 started,
Okay.
and or launched rather.
Yeah.
So like, that's not why I play it anymore. I don't really have any friends that are like gung ho into COD anymore. Like, why am I even doing this? You know, like that was kind of the thought that I had. So the fact that it's literally Black Ops 6 with a near future skin on it. Like some of the animations are just straight up recycled.
Yeah.
And then there's that. There's the fact that I just it's not for me anymore. And I think that the skill-based matchmaking was like aggressive, like way more aggressive than it really should have been. Which kind of leads me into my next point. Yesterday, Treyarch put out a tweet, or they just updated the game in general, that they added a new game mode called Open Mosh Pit, where literally in the description of the game mode when you're selecting it, it says skill is like minimally considered in your matchmaking experience. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. So I played it, and like while I didn't go like while I didn't have like this outrageous kill death ratio, the game, like I definitely felt like it wasn't nearly as sweaty. And I'm saying all this just to say that like this might be the first time ever where I personally think skill-based matchmaking like just completely took the wind out of my sails in a Call of Duty game. So I don't think Call of Duty is for me anymore. At least not like the titles that we have been getting for the past couple of years. And I have no idea what they're planning on doing after Black Ops 7, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to change that much. And it only made me not to be like have a mainstream opinion on this, but it only made me more excited for Battlefield 6. Like I really, really am looking forward to it in 5 days from now. So and then yesterday I jumped into zombies, only solo, but like I wanted to see what it was. And again, it's literally the Black Ops 6 zombies mode on a different map with different weapons, but like it feels exactly the same. And I just, I think if I didn't have Game Pass, which is a whole other topic that we'll get into later, but if I didn't have Game Pass, then I would not be motivated in the fucking slightest to go out of my way to try to get a beta code for this. So all in all, I'm so apathetic towards this game right now. And before I was interested to the point where like I loved Black Ops 2 just like everybody else, and this looks like the spiritual successor to Black Ops 2. So I was interested in it in that respect. But it's not it. Like it's just not. So it made me realize how excited I was for Battlefield, and like I got no one to play with anyway, so just like fucking why am I wasting my time? So this was a very disjointed first impressions of Black Ops 7, but that's basically where I landed with it. So I turn the mic over to you now. I mean, I know you haven't played it, but like, what do you think of my take so far?
I mean, it confirms a lot of what I've seen, at least as far as the game, the content it's offering, and how it plays, and things like that. I've seen a handful of small additions, which you didn't mention, which I'm curious about, like falling from a great height. You can like do like a roll, and it looks really janky. There's like very slight tweaks to the movement. But overall, I mean, you basically said what I was expecting, or what I wanted clarification on, because I was kind of expecting it, where you're just like, oh, it kind of feels like Modern Warfare 3 to the Modern Warfare 2, the most recent ones, I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's what it looks like. That's realistic.
Although I had a better time with Modern Warfare 3 than I did.
Well, yeah, because Modern Warfare 2 was kind of like close to being really good. Like, I don't hate Modern Warfare 2. It is probably the weakest of the 3 new Modern Warfare games, just from the virtue of Modern Warfare 3 being everything together, and Modern Warfare 2019 being Modern Warfare 2019. Overall, I mean, I don't have much to say on the systems aspect of it. You kind of squared me up and put me on the opposite side of your opinion on it. My opinion on skill-based matchmaking isn't that it's not a bad thing. I do think it's a net negative to the general experience of, I would say, average to above average users. And what I mean,
I would consider myself like an above average player.
No, yeah, I agree.
Like, I just wasn't feeling that. You know, like usually like I am cognizant of when I'm doing well in a game and when I'm not.
Yeah.
And I just was not feeling that way during my play time.
Yeah. My thing about skill-based matchmaking isn't that I think it's not a bad thing. Everyone needs to get over it. The reason why you might think that way is because over the course of, like, I guess you could say 4 years, where everybody was really back into Call of Duty, you know, whether you consider it just 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, you know, our personal experience with it, the people we played with were very vocal in a way that was disproportionate to how often we were actually encountering issues with the skill-based matchmaking. Like,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
To use your smaller sample size where you got insane whiplash, like, that's like the worst you will get out of skill-based matchmaking is like you do really well and then you get fucking curb stomped. We had people that were basically saying every single match they got in was a bad match. Like maybe 1 out of every 10 they were saying that like that's where I kind of go like, I think you guys are making a boogeyman out of this, which a lot of people do. Now, that being said, like I said at the beginning, I still think skill-based matchmaking is a net negative that should go away, but the level of grief that some people kick up about it is just disproportionate. That's my takeaway.
Okay. Okay.
Because,
that's fair.
Yeah, because
I think. Again, finish thought.
Yeah, because what I was saying is like a lot of these different systems, you know, that the kind of precursors to the term skill-based matchmaking, whether it was MMR or some other ELO, they were always kind of in play. Not necessarily as far back as the beginning, especially when server browsing was a thing, but these systems have been around for a while. It's just, you know, with streamer culture and everybody, you know, that kind of... Is there a term for this yet? Where, like, you know, when everybody was inside because of the lockdowns, does that have it like its own fancy name yet for why everybody was on?
I think it's just COVID. You know, like
no, there's got to be
3 months that was it 3 months? No, it was longer than that.
Jesus Christ, Dan. I mean, we got into it in the first 3 months, but it lasted about a year and a half. It was probably
no. I mean, like when everyone was locked in their house, that didn't last for a year, did it?
Well, it depends on where you were. Me, I was out and about driving and doing whatever the fuck I wanted. I was like, "Ooh, there's no traffic," and then I went about my fucking business. But basically, on my side tangent is there is a period of time where you notice video games, television, movies, anime, and manga, all of it got like an influx of people who normally would have nothing to do with it. I'm wondering if there's a term for that yet. I'm assuming there isn't, but what I was getting at is like when that was going on is just like that period of time is probably when skill-based matchmaking got the most attention because everybody had their eyes on Call of Duty. Warzone had basically come out in the most opportune moment possible.
Yeah. We'll never get another moment in like gaming history.
I said this before. I'll say it again. There were like 5. You could probably squeeze 10 out of that, but there were 5 games in particular that really, really benefited from the lockdowns. Yeah. Warzone is probably at the peak, aside from the fact that it was Call of Duty, so the multiplier is higher. It came out like basically when everybody was going.
It was the perfect time.
Yeah, everybody was going.
You
wow,
couldn't have planned it any better than it actually happened.
Like I remember going like I was at my the job I was at the time, and it was getting bought out. So I was at the last shift. I was collecting all my paychecks. And as I was walking out the door, I worked at a grocery store at the time, a customer walked up to me and said, "Hey, what's going on with the toilet paper? Do you guys have any?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on. People are going nuts about that. We have to go check that aisle over there." And that was like right as soon as everybody was talking, we got to shut down everything and whatnot. And say what you will about what happened, but Call of Duty, Warzone, perfect time for that. And all of this is to say that skill-based matchmaking in some way, shape, or form has always kind of existed. This version of it is obviously a bit more heavy-handed. It has its finger on the scale way more than previous versions, that with the exception of maybe inherently ranked modes of the past. Like, I think Halo MMR ranking was probably a bit more heavy-handed than modern-day skill-based matchmaking. All of this to say is situations like yours are probably as bad as it gets. Like that kind of
Yeah.
whiplash. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I think the option should be there to, just have that mosh pit where there's like much less of it. Because the thing is,
Well,
skill-based matchmaking is really to benefit people at like the lower level of average,
Yeah,
and
no,
the
of
people
course.
that don't really put thought into it, and they're just going to hit the button regardless. They really don't give a fuck. So just, I don't know. It's a long-winded rant to add to your long-winded rant to say that, like, while I do agree that it is a bad thing and net negative, as I keep saying, my position is more, on average, the person complaining about it has other issues they need to worry about aside from skill-based matchmaking.
Well, like,
That's all.
you and I have come from an era in gaming where that was a very minimal concern, if it ever was, and like, not to like get self-righteous or toot my own horn or anything, but like when we were playing in the quote-unquote golden era of COD, I wouldn't get a kill and then die like immediately without getting a second kill. Like I would go on tears and like I'd get like 3, 4, 5 kill streaks or something, and then I'd die. But now it seems that the system is set up in such a way that they want to push you so close to that 1.0 KD for whatever fucking reason that like I am not having fun with that. Like it's a video game. The whole point is to have fun. It's escapism, whatever have you. And I don't want to feel like I am working my ass off for every match that I'm in. And that's how I felt in Black Ops 7. Like from the second game on, that's how I felt. And I just don't want to play in an environment like that anymore. I don't even think I'm going to touch Black Ops 7 when it comes out. I might play through the campaign like I usually do. Maybe zombies if you are so inclined. I'm not going to do that solo, but like I'm not touching multiplayer. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely like we kind of had our feet out the door already,
Yeah.
I think the main thing is just like for you to kind of summarize your experience from the outside looking in, is it's like you had such little incentive. The last thing you want is to get slapped in the face like you did for your casual fun,
Yeah.
And
I'll go
who
play.
want that?
Yeah, like I'll literally go play the finals if I want like a fun.
That's what we've been doing.
PvP
That's what we've been
experience.
doing anyway.
Yeah, so that's been my overall experience with Black Ops 7. It just we're approaching another, and I've said this in the past as well. Like recently, we are approaching another great reset, and I think personally, it's got to happen next year. Like it's so obvious with Black Ops 7 that it's just a reskin. Not that the previous games haven't been, but it like, that's another thing. The fucking TTK, it is so fast. Like I just like I can't process what's going on in the amount of time that I need to process it, and then like make a course correcting move. Like it's so quick that's another version of Whiplash that I got. Like I just been running around the corner, and all of a sudden like I would see my screen like jolt from like a bullet hitting me or something. It flashes red, and the next thing you know, I'm just dead. Like I just couldn't do anything about it.
To your credit, I do think if you needed to, you could adapt to that. But I mean, it really does sound like you got like splashed in the face in the worst way possible.
Yeah,
for your
I think
experience
so.
with Black Ops 7. And I'm not saying that to say like, oh, Black Ops 7, it would be better, just grit your teeth, it'll get better over time. I do think that like it sounds like you had the worst possible upcoming experience.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It
wasn't good. I think I literally I was in a Discord call with you and Harrison last night. I was playing the I was playing the open mosh pit game mode actually, with like quote unquote minimal skill is taken into consideration. And I at some point like I was just having a bad game, and I just said out loud, I don't know if you remember it, like I can't do this anymore, and I just turned the game off. And that I think that is probably the last time I'll play Call of Duty for a long time.
Yeah.
Until we get another great reset. Yeah. So this actually kind of leads into the next point, because the only way that I would have gotten access to Black Ops 7 is because of my game.
Here we go.
Here we go, baby. It's because of my Game Pass Ultimate subscription, which, if you haven't heard, the price has been raised by a whopping 50%. So before, Game Pass Ultimate was $19.99 for the top tier service that Microsoft offers. Now, I think probably starting next month, they are transitioning to $29.99 for a monthly subscription to Game Pass Ultimate. Now, you and I have not talked about this off air, which I'm actually really grateful for.
Yes. The last time we talked about Game Pass at all in this manner was when it last increased the prices.
Yeah. And what did we say back then? Do you remember? Because I don't. My life is too fucking crazy right now.
We spitballed what price would be too much for both of us. I think we both came to the I think we both landed around $25. I think that's where we landed, where that would be too much.
Oh, how serendipitous.
Yeah.
Which, so again, brings me to my next point. I am seriously considering canceling Game Pass for a couple different reasons, actually.
Yeah.
First and foremost, the price is just $30 is just that's just astronomical in my opinion. And I think Microsoft shot themselves in the foot because their whole price hike structure like skyrocketed within the course of a year. Like it was way too fast for them to do that, even if it was the plan all along. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is that even if I open up my Xbox app on my computer right now, like there is nothing that I can tell you that like I'm seeing in front of me that is screaming play me. Like it just like they have a lot of titles, sure, which is great, and to their credit, they have a lot of good ones. But I've either played them already or I'm not interested. So that being said, like I really don't have a reason to hang on to this anymore. Like the only thing that I'm looking at right now that I'm thinking to myself, oh, like I can go for a couple hours of this is probably Doom, but I already own it on Steam. So why would I need Game Pass for that? And I just think that Microsoft is way too heavy-handed with the price, way not generous enough with what they're offering, and three, we're way too quick to reach this point. And on top of all of the bad press that they've already been getting, like it's like they're trying to kill their brand, and they're doing a really fucking good job. Let me tell you. So those are my gut reactions. I've been actually very curious to hear what you have to say. So please, let me have it.
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is, as far as my personal opinion and like whether or not I'm going to keep going in on this, I think like I enjoy the convenience of the Xbox Game Pass, right? Who doesn't? I maintain that 25 would have been my cutoff point anyway, as far as this goes, just because again, I have that little leverage where it's like, oh, I'll pick out a random game, and it's good entertainment for either the channel or like, oh, I'll like it, and then I can potentially do a video on it, and the ad revenue I get my money back. It kind of makes sense, right? The key thing that this broke for me, and it's something that I don't know if we mentioned it on the podcast or if I mentioned it to you offhand or if I just mused to myself in my head, right? Is that they broke like the one thing that I said, do not do this. It's if you look at the new like advert for it where it's just like new ways to play your way and it shows the 3 tiers, right? It says, headlining each, it says, this tier gives you 50 games and more. This one gives you 200 games and more. This one gives you 400 games and more. And I immediately said, nope, I can't do that. I said, the one thing I said is you need to keep the games uniform across whichever you're doing, right? The one exception you could do is day one studio launches, right? That's like your give me. That's how you collect. That's how you can keep Ultimate separate from the other tiers, right? It's just that you can't have different tiers with different games available like that. It just doesn't. It doesn't fly. Like I'm looking
because like they know that Call of Duty, for sake of argument, is way more popular than Doom, right? So like they're gonna go out of their way to gatekeep COD behind the highest paywall they possibly can, and like, sorry, fuck you, pay me. Like that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and I'm like I'm looking at it. I'm just like, I don't know where these numbers are coming from. Like this sounds like a misfire. Not for the reasons that we're gonna get into and the reasons you already said, but just like looking at this, it's almost like, imagine if they just started doing Game Pass right today, and this is what they showed. I'd be like, okay, the way you're displaying this kind of makes sense, but all of this screams to existing customers is like, you will get less if you pay the same amount that you're already paying. That's what the screen, like, I don't know why the fuck
That's what it is.
Yeah, I do not know why Essential and Premium have different game offerings. Like, it's not displayed here. Like, I guess it's because of the, you know, the little disclaimer where it's like, oh, Xbox Studios games, there will be a delay. It's not day one, right? I guess. Mm-hmm. So is it Essential is everything, Premium is everything, plus the main draw is their games, but now it's only in tier 2 and up. Like that, this is just it's a disaster. And I'm not even, again, I'm not just talking the price increase and shit like that. It is a disaster because, like, I can't imagine new or old customers looking at this and being enticed by this in any way, shape, or form. Now, I'm gonna come out and outright say it is like, this is primarily convenience for me. Primarily convenience, because I do like the Xbox consoles. I always have. I like the shared ecosystem. I always have. But if I want to play a game, I can get the game. I don't like, and I don't need to pay anything at all. You know, everybody knows it, right? The main driver of the ways to illicitly get these games is when the prices is one of the major drivers is when the prices are way too high. The second thing, and what did Gabe say? Gabe said this as it was like the primary issue. I'm saying it's a secondary issue. It's a service issue. This is a mixture of both of those key issues. I will take my business elsewhere. Thank you very much. There are a few things that could keep me coming to Game Pass, but it's just like, this is, aside from the fact that this is just a nightmare, it comes at the worst possible time, because like their main thing here with the little asterisk is, oh, you want Call of Duty day one? Sign on to Ultimate. Who the fuck wants Call of Duty right now? In the amount of time it took you to buy them and put them on the pass, you're in another slump. And I can't blame that entirely on Microsoft, but like, this is just a nightmare. It is a nightmare.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
Actually, did you watch the like the promotional info
like
video?
Yeah, I did. I did. That was
so. I find it amusing how they got. Well, yeah. One, it was tone deaf, but two, I find it very amusing how they just got some no-name like Microsoft employee to be the face of this. Like,
yeah.
If first of all, one, they know it's bad.
Yeah.
Because if they knew it was good, then fucking Phil Spencer would have gotten up there and told the world how much better it is. And I also find it hilarious how what you were just saying before about like the different tiers give you different access to different games. When they were breaking that down in the fine print on the bottom of the screen, I don't know if you noticed this, like they had the little asterisk. And they said, like, Call of Duty is only available on Game Pass Ultimate, when they were saying, like, how much you get with the other two levels of the service.
Yes.
Like, fuck you. We know you want this game. You're going to have to pay us. Like, you know, fucking kick rocks.
Yeah.
Like, that, it's a really, really, really bad look for Microsoft.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, just to talk about that little thing they did where they trotted out that, I don't want to say poor woman, because a lot of the people at Microsoft do probably suck, but like they trotted her out, and I felt like I was back at one of those Microsoft trainings. I'm just like, that's not a feeling I want when you're talking about my video games.
for context, Anthony and I both used to be what was it? What was the title?
Microsoft
Associates?
Experts.
Right.
So they changed the name like 50 times, but basically it was a liaison position where you were trained and paid through the company, but Microsoft was funding it. It was like this weird middle position. And me and him would go off to trainings occasionally, and those training videos, that's what this fucking thing felt like.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Only now I have to pay them.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. And at the same time, they're also changing the Microsoft rewards so that you need to manually spend the money.
It.
Yeah. So like now for all the people like
they're just fucking us out of every way like possible. Like this is crazy. Like, and also, did you hear the little factoid of the Microsoft cancellation website crashed because so
here's
many
the
people
thing.
were flooding the site.
Yes, I heard about that. Two things I'm going to say about that. I'm sure the volume was rather high. That website sucks anyway. It crashes frequently. So I wouldn't,
Does it?
Yeah, no, every time I've used it to buy something, like, the site's giving me issues. So while I'm sure the cancellation volume is high, I think everybody's blowing that a little bit out of proportion. I do think that the site just sucks.
Maybe,
and it buckled a little bit.
I mean, still, like, it's a part of your overall Microsoft website. Like, there's no reason why that should be buckling. But yeah, so that is a thing that happened, and nobody likes it. Yeah. And I can only imagine what the boardroom at Microsoft is like right now, or not necessarily the boardroom, but whatever.
So there's a lot of things to consider if we want to, past our personal preferences and how everybody's reacting to it. If we want to step into that boardroom for a moment, right? Now we've been talking. Game Pass has been going on for a while. And we've had our little talks about it, both just as consumers and when we do the podcast and stuff. The thing is, like, all of the worst things are happening for Microsoft at the worst possible time. Like, they're boneheaded.
All at the same time.
Yeah, they're boneheaded. They make a lot of mistakes, but shit like Call of Duty being in a slump right when they do this, that's just bad luck. Right?
Yeah, that's just bad luck.
Now, but there's other things to consider too, because, like, these turns come, like, the reason that the price is increasing is because, number one, Game Pass is not a tenable structure. It's definitely propped up by Microsoft capital, company-wide, because they see it as an investment. And you got to remember, they had a goal of players, at some point, but now it's just like, I think they're starting to realize the player count isn't something tenable, so now they're trying to get as much money as possible. And I think it's all exacerbated by the industry as a whole sucking and hurting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my phone. No, my phone just went off for some reason.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, I don't know, man. I don't know how they recover from this, because they even said that they lost like $300 million with Black Ops 6 being on Game Pass.
But did they say that, or are other people reporting on that?
I'm pretty sure that it came from like a reputable source. I'll have to find it
because
exactly,
the tricky thing is, like, in the framing on that's a little weird, because everybody, including Microsoft, knew that they were going to lose raw sales numbers. So that doesn't surprise me, and I have a feeling it didn't surprise Microsoft either. Not saying it's a good look. I'm just saying I think people are there are certain statistics that people need to learn to kind of temper their expectations around when they're looking at decisions like this. Everybody, and this includes the people spending the money, knew that they were going to lose money on raw Call of Duty sales because of Game Pass. So 300 million is definitely a bean counter somewhere. Definitely, like, put the numbers together and crunch it, saying, like, hey, year over year, you're probably going to lose that. Now, this could also lead to their decisions for Call of Duty being exclusive to this new Ultimate tier. That's definitely that plays into it, but it's not like a knee-jerk reaction. This is something they knew going into it. I don't think they were anticipating the quality drop-off and, the competition with Battlefield, but they were definitely anticipating losing a certain amount of sales numbers, just raw sale numbers, going into the Game Pass thing,
Yeah, it just, nothing about this is good, and I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets even a little bit better. So I don't know how this could possibly play out for
I don't know, man.
anybody involved on their end.
Again, I'm just gonna keep saying it. Microsoft has, like, cards to play, and they're playing them all the wrong way. And I think it's kind of like, it doesn't make sense for me to continue, like, saying, like, much like the Xbox guys got to this point, where they were just they were definitely being squeezed by higher ups, and they were just going, just give us more time, give us more money, we will make Xbox work, right? But humor me for a second, Dan.
Oh boy. Here we go.
A next generation Xbox following the Series X. Gears is exclusive, Halo's exclusive, Forza's exclusive, Doom is exclusive, Elder Scrolls is exclusive, Fallout's exclusive, Call of Duty has exclusive benefits. I'm not gonna say because they're not gonna give up the sales on a
no one's
platform.
crazy enough to make COD exclusive.
Yeah, I just they still have cards to play. Hell, if they really wanted to, they could make Call of Duty exclusive. I honestly think the only thing stopping them from making Call of Duty exclusive is the precedent set during the merger, where they basically said they wouldn't do something like that, and the fact that the upfront sales cost would be too much. I don't think I don't think they're willing to take that plunge. I could see them, if they were strong, they could lean into it, but yeah, I just have to wonder what their long-term plans are at this point. I'm still confident that there's more Xbox hardware coming. And
no, I think there definitely is.
Yeah, I'm still. We had that whole discussion about it, and also it's just like everybody's got to remember, like reading in between the lines. Like everybody wants to like doom and gloom about this because things are bad, but like people like to take it the extra mile. But it's like at the same time, you hear rumors and like deals are still going on where they're still fighting to put software on Xbox hardware. So there's something brewing there. I just don't know. Like they're still doing deals with. This shocks the fuck out of me every time I see it. Like they're still trying shit in Japan. That blows me away, Dan, because that has been a losing battle for them since post the 360 era. 360 era had some really cool stuff because they were good. They were buddy with Koei Tecmo, which is how you got Dead or Alive. That's the only reason you have Hayabusa armor in Halo 3 at all.
Really?
Yeah, Hayabusa that armor is modeled after Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden.
Well, no, that I know. I mean, I didn't know like the business dealings behind it, but
that's it. Dude, you're not going to have it other way. And also, if you boot up Dead or Alive 4 today, which is still an exclusive to the Xbox 360, you know what it says on the banners in some of the stages? Congratulations on the Xbox 360 launch. To this day, you can go in there and you can see these banners. Yeah, but it's just. Yeah, but it's like I look at these different deals they're doing. They're still fighting the hardware. Like there are certain small things that they would have given up on already if they were ready to bail and just go full third party. I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. If the industry was any healthier, I'd say they're fucking dead. But everybody's hurting. Even though, for example, like Sony reported, like, oh, this is the most profitable generation yet. What they're not telling you is they're not profiting on the PlayStation 5. They're profiting on the back end on software deals and older PlayStation 4 stuff. So it's like the industry's in the shitter. Xbox they're making questionable moves,
Questionable is an understatement, my friend.
Yeah. We'll probably know more the next time they do layoffs, which are absolutely going to happen.
Well, continuing in the same vein of business dealings and companies and everything, you know where I'm going with this one.
Yep.
EA has officially been bought by Jared Kushner's firm and a Saudi Arabian firm, right?
It's primarily
buyout.
Yeah, it's primarily the Saudis move on this. I think Kushner is there as part of the business dealings, but I'm pretty sure he was more of a broker. Like he was almost like he has investments in there, but he's a broker primarily in this transaction.
Yeah. So that's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Although I think will be both positive and negative things to come out of this.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to consider.
The $55 billion that EA was purchased for is the single biggest business acquisition in history. I think, right? That was I
don't know if that's true though.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Hold on a second. Well, talk about that for a little bit. I'm gonna find that.
Well, I'm already in the process of finding it. Let's see how much. Yeah, Microsoft paid $69 billion for Activision, so it's close.
Oh, okay.
So it's close. It's up there. But what's more unprecedented is it's probably like the largest like going private kind of thing that the industry has seen.
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking money for one publisher. Well, I mean, I guess
they've been buying studios for years, so they have a lot of properties hiding underneath floorboards,
So there's been a lot of
there's a lot of talk about that.
What's the term? Yeah, because
gossip, Gallop, and all that kind of stuff. So the first thing I want to highlight real quick, something that like I don't see many people highlighting or like talking about the possible repercussions. I'm actually surprised you brought it up that it's a leveraged buyout. So for anybody who doesn't know, there's debt in play with the leverage buyout.
Oh yeah, a lot of it.
$20 billion in debt it was borrowed for this, and the Saudis aren't on the hook for that. EA as an entity is on the hook for that. So if things go south in this deal, you're going to see studios, IPs, other assets up for grabs.
Just go away. Yeah.
Yes. And while I'm not going to say like EA is going to die overnight, the Saudis definitely entered this willing to cut their losses. Like every other venture I've mentioned, like this is like them buying in for a multitude of different reasons. They are willing to let bubbles burst and just cut their losses at a certain point. I'm not saying that's going to happen for sure with EA, but in the worst case scenario, they're out and EA is going to sell shit like crazy.
Yeah, well, already, like right after the acquisition took place, one of the first things that I saw was BioWare was like, so what's going on, guys?
Yeah, there's a lot of different rumors and things that are spilling out, but what I will say is a lot of the developers are in panic mode because they are brain-rotted, disgusting creatures that see the Saudis as a threat to their existence because there's a lot of people that like to push the more progressive stuff, which has damaged most of the properties in there. And as we know, the Saudis, say what you will, they are not keen on the very progressive stuff, both in real life and in fiction. So there's been a lot of whinging and whining.
Which I'm looking forward
to,
by the way.
Listen, we're not entirely sure what's going to happen yet, but what I will say is if there is a push from these new owners to have this stuff gone, like you have a bunch of people on the inside going, oh, there's way too many people bought it, it would never happen. They are definitely aware of you, and if they want you gone, you will be gone, and your really shitty ideas will be gone. And guess what? When there's power like that in play, all this, namby-pamby, like, oh, we stand for the right side of history, that all falls away. Most of the people that surround, like, the really vocal activists are cowards that will cave immediately the second there's actual consequences on the line. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not going to say it's going to be an overnight thing, but if there is a force in play that would be willing to make those changes, it's going to be these new owners. So we'll end up seeing what happens with that. It really depends on how safe they want to play it, because when we talked about the potential for a buyout, I mentioned that this was really just a huge part of it is the Saudis working on their image. We don't really have an indicator yet of how that's going to go into the properties themselves, We already talked about how people are, like, we mainly talk about our video games, but like they've been doing things in sports. They've been doing things. There was recently a comedy event where they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a bunch of comedians to fly out there and talk about how great they are and how bad everybody else in the West is. What they don't tell you is there's a long list of things that you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say, and a lot of that's going to make its way into EA at a certain point. But they're spending the money is basically what they're doing. People are going to talk up and down about the reasoning, whether it's covering for the negative reputation, eyeing weaknesses in other nations, building reputations with the youth, or really just anyone under 40. Maybe it's as simple as them seeing what we're seeing, where it's just like it's an industry in arbitrary creative decline that's just open for investment. I happen to think it's probably a mix of all these different things, but regardless of intention, all of this is leading to them wanting soft power in culture, right? Japan had that soft power for a while. Essentially, after everybody in the West, Europe, the United States, dove headfirst into all the modern, progressive, political and cultural nonsense that we've been dealing with. Like late 2015 is really when I would say we saw the effects of it. It's been building since like 2012 and earlier. Japan had been mostly immune to that, which is why when comics basically died, you ever hear that story where it's like one single manga outsold the entirety of the comic industry during the pandemic?
Yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah. So they had that extended to pretty much everything. They were still making games that people liked despite localization and censorship practices. But basically, the last 3 years or so, more depending on whether you want to get into specifics of it, all the things that ruined our stuff they're really pushing hard to ruin Japan's stuff. So now Saudis are coming in to kind of fill the void just by buying remnants of what the West had and what the East had, and they're like propping them up like they kind of tried to do with SNK. So all this is, in the long run, there's a mixture of reasons, but they want soft power. They want how they're perceived to be in a very positive light, and they're going to buy little holds in everything. And now with the EA move, I can only imagine they want to, like, I don't know. It's tough because if they move too aggressively, they risk a reputational hit. Not that, you know, in the short term anyway, because, you know, if you get rid of all the bloat, if you cut out all the crap, you get rid of the activism, and then you end up with quality products, your reputation will skyrocket. You know, all these saviors of this particular company and all the properties, but that takes time. So it's really a matter of how they go about it. I could see them being sneaky about it, slowly getting rid of people or building and ousting people. It's just, I think this overall will be a good thing in the short term. It's just a matter of when things turn, or when they decide that they're done spending money and investing in this area. You know, there's a lot of things up in the air is basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of unknowns. Like, what direction are they going to head, and with what studios and how many studios? And
yeah, a lot.
I don't know. And Andrew Wilson's statement on all this was just as corporate speak as anything that, you know, than anything that has ever come out of that fucking guy's mouth. Like, I do not like him.
Yeah, so it is funny. He basically did like a whole spiel. I remember reading it, and he basically said like, "Oh, nobody has to worry about anything." You're an idiot. Nobody believes that. You know, somebody's gonna lose. Somebody's gonna lose in this deal. That's just how it is. Yeah. I think in the long term, this could potentially, like, I want to say I put, because there's so many unknowns, because it also has to do with how cultural things change in the West and the East. If Japan, you know, rights ship, or if they continue to decline while the West rises up, being fed up with this nonsense, whether there's any external factors that like that escalate things or drag things out. There's just so much in there that changes how the Saudis will react and, you know, exert their power. Because at the end of the day, you know, Andrew Wilson had that whole thing where it's like, oh, nobody needs to worry about that. If they wanted to put their hand on the scale, they could absolutely do it, and they would do it overnight, you know, and they would who cares? What is EA suddenly going to sell worse? Like, come on. But yeah, it's interesting to see. I really do hope they just upheave the whole thing, because like maybe that's exactly what they want me. Maybe I'm being the useful in this situation, but it's like I hate everything about the industry culture as is right now. So somebody coming in and flipping the tables, what are you going to say to me? Oh, now so a foreign company, a foreign entity now owns all these precious things you grew up with. I'm like, you were ruining them in the meantime. Like, what are you? Am I going to cry about it? Like, it was already dead to me. You know, who cares how sketchy this potential revival process is? You know, and there's no real loss here. You already flipped the table. So. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I have my fingers crossed for the best. I hope to, in this, like, I want to say it'll be like 5-year period where like they have. That's
kind of what the Activision buyout was like.
Yeah, I want to say it's a 5-year period where they have the most leeway to do whatever they want and get credit for it. So I could see some major changes in like the first year or two. Hopefully sooner the better. If you want to do it within a year, by all means go for it. I'm sure you'll get a lot of people supporting it. But, you know, you have a lot of people on the inside to go back to that, like whinging and crying. Like, you have some people saying all this stuff, it's going to be all guns and football. You know, any progressive messaging is going to be out the window. And this is somebody who wants to push the progressiveness saying this as like they're lamenting it. And I'm just like, well, that's kind of what people want. And then you have other people saying like, oh, we're going to stand up to the man. They're not going to change. They're not going to stop us from being wonderful people. And on the right side of history, I'm just like, blow it out your ass. People are tired of this stuff. and the fact that like you have, like, I'm not going to mince words. Like, you know, I'm not going to say like the people of Saudi Arabia are like just all in all savages, but I'm not going to pretend they're like majestic saviors either. You know, like I would much rather we just do our own thing without foreign buyouts or foreign saviors. And if so, the Saudis wouldn't be my first choice. But you know, it's whatever, man. It's just like if they, I don't lose in this situation. I guess I don't have enough on the line. I only stand to gain. think most people will like that. You know, I'm sure
I think I said this to you on the side, but
what? What'd you say?
I'd like to imagine some fucking Saudi prince loving Titanfall so much that he's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy EA and we're gonna make Titanfall 3. It's coming back, boys.
The funny thing is, like, you know, I remember when that prince kind of rose to power and everybody found his Steam account. You gotta it's I don't know how much I believe, right? Because it seems too perfect. He has a Steam account with a reputable record. It has niche games on there that, you know, people wouldn't think to throw on there to prove some clout. I'm hoping this guy actually does just love games to a certain degree, and that we just lucked out that, like, this Middle Eastern royalty with coffers of gold and treasure just decided to throw his weight around, you know? Yeah,
just
like,
slinging dick in the fucking gaming industry.
I'd be okay with that, you know. Fuck, I'm not gonna go full on, you know, save me, take over my government or anything like that. But if you want to make games not suck, you know, then go for it, man.
Make a Titanfall 3 and resurrect Anthem, please. Please.
Your hopes are too high. I just want less gay shit in my video games. You're shooting for the moon. I'm just going like, hey, you know, everybody on the planet's sick of this, and you guys have no tolerance for it. So maybe you could just crush it out of EA, please. I'm tired of it. I'm sure the Dragon Age guys would have loved to have this guy in charge like 5 years ago.
Yeah, right. Look, man. If you swing for the fucking moon, maybe you'll hit the fences.
Yeah,
so.
I guess we'll see.
I'll take one of the. Give me Anthem back or Titanfall 3. I mean, I prefer Titanfall 3, but I'll take either or.
Yeah, but
those are my.
See what, I do think in general things are going to trend the right way for your average person that doesn't like nonsense. You know, it's just a matter of what scale, I guess. We're going to see things trickle out 3 years from now with a certain amount of influence. We're going to only get things at the tail end before the bubble burst, so to speak, because they're not going to be pouring money into this industry forever. You know, they're not going to be pouring their money into all of these different industries forever. It's not tenable, much like the Game Pass thing we were talking about. You know, even if they do see it as an investment, even if they do have a lot of money to spend, they're not just going to spend year over year pouring money for minor gains in all these industries. Something's got to give. I'm going to say within 5 years, maybe 3, the free money train stops, and they're just left with investments, and we're going to like tally the score and see what happens from that. But you know, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Those are 2 really, really big stories to happen this week. Anything else that I have is going to be like literal fucking peanuts.
Yeah.
In comparison, I mean, we're done talking about EA. I'm assuming.
I would say so. Again, my only last word is like, you're going to have people shouting at you saying this is the worst thing ever, and the main reason they're going to be saying that is because they have very progressive things they want to push, and they're going to tell you, oh, you know, this foreign entity, it owns your company now, isn't this terrible? I'm going to be like, you guys already destroyed it, like, I can only see it rise from the ashes or stay in the rubble, you know, so you have nothing to threaten me with. I'm just going to sit, watch, and hope for the best.
Yeah. Well, that was a lot. That was a lot of stuff that we just talked about.
We did.
As far as any other, you know, actual news story, Battlefield had their post-launch content roadmap revealed recently. That actually looks pretty promising. A lot of content in that, more than I was expecting, to be honest. So, looking forward to that. Let's see, what else do I got here? A prototype remaster might be coming out. So,
yeah,
I don't know. So those games were fun. They were just dumb fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk of different remasters. Like, you know, you hear about like, oh, we're gonna get a remaster of Prototype. Oh, what kind of remaster? Oh, well, it could just be a regular remaster. It could be a full-blown remake. We don't really know a whole lot just yet. They're also saying the same about Red Dead Redemption 2 might get a remaster, which is very unnecessary.
Why? It doesn't need it. Whatever.
Exactly, but like some signs are pointing to that. I feel like there was another remaster that was getting gassed up that also seemed unnecessary. I think the studio Virtuos, the guys that did the Oblivion remaster, I think they're starting to get work now because of
the Oblivion remaster was so well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very well received, and I do think, again, I think it's mostly okay, except for a few very unnecessary changes, which, as I've mentioned before, those matter. I'm gonna keep harping on it. Yes, they changed like 2% of the game in a way I find unfavorable. That should bother literally everyone who cares about video games as a medium and an art form, and not just a consumable, tossable product. If you have a problem with me having a problem with it, you don't care as much as I do. There you go. I'll just say it outright.
What did I say at the beginning of the show? Not afraid to offend anybody.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I get it. There's some small things that you can give or take on, or you can just chalk up to not bad intent and just misguided shit. But it's just like, listen, if I say, hey, things should not change, thing we all love should not change arbitrarily, and your case is you have more a problem with me saying that and not the people changing things arbitrarily, we have nothing to discuss. You just don't care as much. Which is fine. You're not entitled to care, but just don't care in a much quieter fashion. let the adults handle the industry. If don't be a useful idiot who just sits there and going, you're the real problem for complaining, not the people doing the thing, you know? No patience for that.
Yeah. Well, I got nothing else. That was like the bulk of stuff that I was going to talk about.
Yeah, I don't want to say unfortunately, because, you know, having things to talk about is always a good thing, but I had two big things that I'm going to say for next week. I do have a small thing. Capcom, one of my favorite developers, not in just live or die by Capcom or anything like that. I don't get fanatical about anything. I will always preface that, because when you say fan, that's a loaded term. So they are one of the, obviously their Street Fighter is one of the biggest fighting games. It maintains that position. I like to describe it as the end and beginning of fighting games, even though there are other games that are better, and even though there are other games that do things that Street Fighter does much better. But they have been going all in on the Capcom Pro Tour and different Street Fighter circuits and different things like that. I think they have one major one they run and a secondary smaller one. I can't remember exactly, because at a certain point they all blend together, right? They recently announced that the next... Well, actually, let me preface this. A couple, like a month or so ago, maybe a little less than a month, a little less than 2 months, they recently announced, we have new streaming guidelines for if you want to stream the Capcom Pro Tour stuff coming up, right? So it's like restreams and group watches and shit like that. There are new rules. And I shit you not, they basically had a little picture of like just a Street Fighter match, right? And they said, you can stream this much of the screen. And it was just the timer of the match is like the only thing you could stream. And everyone kind of goes, that's a bit strange. That seems a bit, and then like, I'm like, what's going to happen after this? And then they announced this month they are doing pay-per-view for these fighting game events now. Yes, they're doing pay-per-view. About $30, I think, is what the yen translates to. They are doing pay-per-view matches in Street Fighter for the higher-end events now. And
wow.
That, no, aside from that being ridiculous, I think what it is you can watch on a much lower standard quality on YouTube. I forget exactly how it breaks down. Like, it's not impossible to watch without paying, but they are introducing the pay-per-view model. And my only thing is, like, it's fun watching the fighting game community get riled up about this, because it really puts their, like, this contradictory mindset of your average fighting game player. Says, we are grassroots, we are a community that is built off of the smaller events in the community, and also we want as much money as fucking possible, and we want to be in the big leagues. So when something like this happens, you have people, they're screeching about how, this goes against everything it stands for. Meanwhile, leading up to this point, they were very much in the, we need more money at any possible cost. Those are the two things they flip-flop between. So as this whole thing's going on, everybody's just laughing at each other. It's like, what the fuck do you mean, grassroots? You've been trying to get into major esports for a while, and people are pointing out nobody wants to fucking invest in fighting game esports of any kind because of how the community's built. Like, I really don't have an accurate way to describe how contradictory it is, but basically, Capcom is now charging money to view these events. Everybody's upset, and I think it's just another sign that the bubble's getting ready to burst. Because the main reason they're doing this, aside from the fact that everybody was inching towards that, is I think... I gotta see how much this is. Let's see. I think Capcom loses hundreds of thousands of dollars a year running these events. Like esports is running at it runs at a loss, you know. So it's like they're gonna get their money or the events are gonna stop, and this is just one way they're going about it. And that's just like a little small thing, I'd say, just another like crazy thing happening in the fighting. They're reaping what they're sowing. I really just don't know what to say at this point. People who just like your average fighting game community member is a retard. Like I just can't I can't they constantly screech about how they want bigger venues, bigger payouts. You know, but most of these people are just parroting whatever their favorite influencer says, because these people are not going to these tournaments and winning. Fucking I'm not going to these tournaments and winning if I really wanted to, you know. But fucking they go like, we need bigger money, we need to be recognized. They're insanely jealous of like FPS circuits and things, and like with MOBA circuits and shit like that, you know, the ones that have like ridiculous money in them because they don't have to deal with all the like the grassroots shit. It's just they bake these teams and it's all unnatural and shit, and then they go and then they perform on stage and whatnot, and they have this insane inferiority complex because they feel like they deserve that, but at the same time the fighting game community is one of the most grassroots communities, and it's built on that. These two ideas can't exist, and it's going to come to a head at a certain point where everybody's going to have to go back to basics, or they're just going to have to abandon the pretenses that there's some kind of magical grassroots shit. Because, you know, and I'm not just saying this for me, because it frustrates me very greatly to see these people beg for more money while also claim they are the underdogs that built the church, so to speak. But like, it's not tenable from the people investing. Capcom, the premier, the tip of the spear, is losing money year over year. The Saudi bubble that we were talking about, the Saudis with EA, they're funneling money into these different circuits. They have their foot in the door for fighting games. They too are eventually going to stop spending money on here, and I don't see this ending well, and I don't want it to end well, because this whole scene needs a kick in the ass. And the funny thing is, like, during all this, you have people going, "Yep, now's the time. We got to go back to smaller regionals." I'm like, nobody's going to these fucking tournaments. You think I don't watch? I see. They're the two biggest routes, so to speak, and I've said this to you before. You have East Coast and West Coast. You have there's a few different cities in California, but then you have New York City, and that's in our backyard. And trust me, I'm watching those entry numbers stagnate or tank. Like it's like you have if your local at a premier venue is getting 11 people on average to show up, and you're bitching and moaning about how you have top performers there, but people don't want to show up anyway. You think you're going to be able to prop up regionals, sustain that year over year? Nah, not happening. I guess all this to say is, like, things are starting to come to a head, and I hope they do in a way that just devastates everyone.
Jesus.
Listen, I'm so sick of this shit. It's a vile community filled with vile people, and you know, you have the guys at the top who cashed out. Essentially, they get treated like royalty. They have their big followings, whatever. They don't give a fuck anymore. They're starting to age out. Very few people can compete in their 50s. It's not impossible. I don't want to discourage people. You play for as long as you fucking want, because if that's your passion, you play. But like, a lot of these people are aging out, or doing other things, or trying to backtrack, or find other things to do, or have real life shit that they have to do. You know, and that's kind of sad to say, because these events were built off of it essentially being part of their life, and now they have to step away from it because of all this shit. But it's like, they're aging out, or they're stepping away. You have all the new blood sucks, or are dreadful people. Nobody's learning fundamentals anymore, because the games are designed around these are designed around like coin tosses more and more, or like upsets, instead of like learning the games. So there are a few people out there that can still juggle them, but they're mainly old heads. It's just, I'm ready for this to crater. We need like to trim some fat, cut the bloat. Fuck, man, I'll start going to tournaments again if you make this less retarded. But I'm just like not to toot my own horn, I'm the kind of player that they want. And I don't mean that to be like, I'm like, oh, I'm an amazing guy. I'm like, no, I'm a guy that gives a fuck about the video games. I don't care about the payouts at the top. I play for the love of the game. People like me and Harrison, You know, those are the people that they want. But instead, they're just getting people who are just hype beasts that just follow whatever, you know, the latest stream is being put up, and, you know, people that think they're going to get a payout of it, or people that just want to go in there and make it their entire life or personality, not because they love the game, but because they have nothing else and they want to infiltrate and make it their whole thing, you know. But I guess that I managed to squeeze a rant in there. How'd that happen?
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
So strange.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
All right.
But I got nothing else to talk about. I'm all out.
Yep. All the other stuff I have to talk about is very lengthy. We'll hit that short of I don't know, maybe the industry exploding. We'll have time to talk about some of the other stuff tomorrow.
Very possible.
Or
very possible.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, if you're still listening, thank you very much for listening. This was episode 74 of the Pregame Network podcast. And we'll be back next week for
stuff and things,
more fun and games and stuff and things, and I'll be able to talk about what I think about Battlefield next episode. And yeah, so that's about it. So thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.